What's up, everybody? I am the Kaiju no Kami from the Toku Animation News Network, and this is my quickie review for Sailor Moon Cosmos. Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. It has been quite some time since Sailor Moon Crystal came out. We had Season 1 and Season 2 back to back. We had Season 3 like 2 years later. Then it was like 6 years before Eternal came out to cover the third arc, which was basically Season 4. And finally, like 2 years after that, Season 5, or Cosmos, finally comes out. And what the was that? Like, oh my god. Okay, Crystal is the perfect example of when things should not be 100% accurate to the manga. It's rushed. The manga was a rushed mess. There was no character development for anyone but Usagi. You had to go through the entire manga to get some character development for all the other characters, but you had to read the whole thing from start to finish to actually find that character development. Then when they did the anime series, the first season was kind of rushed, but then they took like a moment to add in some things that were in the manga, which was kind of weird because that never happened for the rest of the series. They didn't add any backstory or anything else into the series beyond the first season. Second season was a complete rushed mess, like the second arc was in the manga. Then Toei's like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we should slow down a bit for when we do Season 3. And they kind of slowed the pacing down for Season 3 a little bit. They split one manga chapter into 2 episodes instead of rushing it all into one. It was a bit better. It had the best animation. And then Eternal, they were like, hey, we're going to turn these into movies now. And it's like, okay, cool. You can have like 2 2-hour movies. Sweet. That's going to work. Now, they relegated them to like 90-minute movies, and if you thought the series was rushed, you didn't see anything yet. They just rushed Eternal out the door. They even cut parts out of the manga with the villains for development. It was crap, and now we have Cosmos, which is even worse. Like the first 15 minutes, we've got something happening in Mamoru, Usagi going all like robotic and nobody actually noticing that she's acting different except for one scene like, oh, she's acting different, but then it doesn't matter. They go to a concert that you see Neptune playing for like maybe 15 seconds. Everyone's clapping like, oh, that was the greatest concert ever. Then the 3 lights show up and they show up on stage. Everyone's like, yeah, oh, that was the greatest concert ever, even though they never actually showed them perform. Sailor Iron Mouse appears, attacks, dies, or then the Starlights appear and Iron Mouse dies, and that was all in 15 minutes. There was like no plot development, no slowdown to digest anything happening. It was just boom, 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 boom. And that's how the rest of the movie went. The rest of the movie just kept continuing without any sense of pacing, without any downtime for you to actually process what has been going on. There's no character development for any of the characters. The Sailor animates, the villains, are there and then they die. Like, almost in the same scene that they appear in. There's a sequence, the 3 lights are there, they transform into starlights in front of everybody, and then they kill Siren. And the people are like, oh, I wonder if these 3 lights are actually the starlights. No shit. You just watched them transform in front of you. How do you not know that they? Just okay. And it just kept going. Like they were basically adapting each manga chapter for this thing into 10 to 15 minute long segments. The longest was 15, the shortest was 10 minutes. But if these had been actual episodes, there would have been at least 5 to 10 minutes more per chapter to at least flesh some stuff out, to maybe do some slowdown, to actually process what's happening, to give characters moments of development. As it happens, the Starlights were just like, what? Whoa, what just happened? The Starlights were there, and then they weren't. And characters are just dying left and right. You're like, what's going on? And then there's characters that weren't in the original anime adaptation because they were so late in the manga. That was like, well, who are they? Oh, it doesn't matter, they're dead. It was nightmarish. So part 1, they don't even really show anyone transform except the first time for the Starlights. Their transformation sequences are like that. So you're like, man, you know this movie's rushed because they're not even showing people transform. The second movie, they spent like a minute to actually show you Usagi transform, and then they went back to rush mode. It was like, well, okay, couldn't you have spent like 10 seconds of Usagi transforming and spent that other 50 seconds to develop a character? Just wondering. So I'm wondering. Could have some character development there instead of showing her transform. It was just awful. I will say the second movie was a little bit better than the first in its pacing, but not by much. Mostly it's because the second movie is half of chapters 6 through 11, where the first movie was chapters 1 through half of 6. I don't understand why they were rushing this in like 100 minutes, I think these ones were. Why not make it all, like each movie 2.5 hours? Why did you have to cram it all into like this short runtime? The animation was nice for the most part. I will say it wasn't their best animation. The voice acting was off. We've been watching them dubbed because the new dub that Viz has done has been really good. Plus, it's cool to hear the same voices from the classic series dub to the Crystal and all that. But this movie felt like they were just reading their lines, not actually acting. For some reason, they put the honorifics in the dub here, which doesn't make sense since they never did that in Crystal's dub. So it just comes across weird sounding, like having them say Galaxia-sama or Galaxia-san, whatever it was they were saying, just was like, or Minako P, like Mina P, that's what it was. Mina P, like what's with the P? What? None of that was before. None of that was done in the previous dub, so why is it happening now? That makes no sense. They did add their own little bit to the ending before the actual ending, which at first I thought they changed the ending because after that little ending bit, the credits start rolling. I was like, wait, did they seriously just change the ending from the manga? But no, the ending from the manga is actually a post-credit scene. So that part worked afterwards, but it was like, if I had turned the movie off during those credits because of how pissed off I was, I would have never known that they actually did the actual ending after the credits. The music is still the best part of Crystal Eternal Cosmos, but ultimately I can say I really do not want to revisit these movies. I mean, if they come out in physical media, I'll probably review them since I've reviewed the first 3 seasons of Crystal, but ultimately I never want to watch this again. I never want to watch anything from Crystal ever again. In fact, I'm probably going to be selling off my Blu-rays for Crystal because I want nothing to do with this show anymore. I will just stick with the classic anime, maybe occasionally watch the live action. Probably not, but unless they brought it out legally. But yeah, I am totally done with this manga adaptation that was total garbage. But then again, the manga is kind of crap. So it is what it is. I am going to give Sailor Moon Cosmos 4 out of 10. I'm going to say a 4 out of 10. What did you think of Sailor Moon Cosmos? What's your favorite Sailor Moon season? What have you thought of the manga? Let me know in the comments below. Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support me. You can support me on Patreon and Bluesky at tokuaannetwork, Network, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami, and my website is creativitybydesignllc.com. You can buy cool Kaiju no Kami merchandise at creativitybydesignllc.com/shop. There's also a link in the description below. And, as always, until next time, bye.